God is dead. Virtue is risen. It's interesting to me the degree to which people naturally gravitate towards the rigid ideologies. As far back as I can remember, people have been blaming religion for wars, injustices, persecution, and prejudice. As a teenager, this seemed an appealing scapegoat to me, and I held this belief despite growing up in a deeply religious setting. My mum, a church warden, I went to a Church of England primary school. Even the secondary school that I attended, we sang hymns every week. Maybe that's why I took such an anti-religion view. It was so saturated in my life, I wanted to rebel. I was getting wise to the ways of science, and I was objectively clear that religion was a force for evil, meant to control and manipulate the masses. Nothing in my personal experience really warranted this strong viewpoint. The churchgoers, vicars and the like, were ranging from just lovely to normal human beings. The more I learned about past atrocities and the more I learned about how absurd claims held by pretty much all religions seemed to me, the more I demonized religion as a concept. I was blissfully unaware of the ridiculous hypocrisy of my tribalism. Science versus religion. It's human nature, I think, to tend to the us versus them style of thinking. Religion in general, I believe, was just an early form of passing on wisdom, the essence of a culture's moral code and basic laws. Can it be used as a tool for awful things? Yes. But I would posit this is a trait of general human tribalism, not of religion itself. Factions within factions exist in any large enough group, and that leads to conflict. I think in general human nature is sociable though. We want each other to do well, or at least those we identify to be in our faction. Very often if there's a sense of rivalry, we don't necessarily want our rivals to do terribly, but we don't necessarily want them to see them doing great either. But we do form factions, and therein lies the fundamental tool for human manipulation en masse. It's comforting to belong and have your ideas reinforced, to be in the right, and to battle against the perceived wrong. It feels good. Recently, it feels as though our culture is trending more towards divisive attitudes. People are becoming more polarized, and to the casual observer, very often it seems over trivial matters. The closer you look at these groups, the more the way they behave is reminiscent of some form of religion. Take the woke social justice warrior, for example. You can't be virtuous enough. If you defy the undefined and ever-evolving doctrine of what is socially acceptable, you face the wrath of the movement. You may receive some nasty messages or comments. You may have your personal details released to the masses with a negative spin attached. Or you may end up losing your job. Worse still, you may end up targeted by people who are so far gone to their cause that they think physical violence is a reasonable response to whatever perceived injustice you have performed. There's no redemption. You are now cancelled, potentially for a joke that you made 8 years ago. These behaviours and issues are not limited to any one group, to the political left or right. It's not about who's wrong and who's right. It's about if you follow our cause. Being part of a group, being a warrior for your cause, being above your peers or foes, these are all very enticing. They're not necessarily healthy or even helpful for your original cause. If you ostracize someone, tell them they are the problem, and you try to make them feel bad about that, You're not going to bring them around to your side or your way of thinking. What you're doing is you're invoking punishment. You're exercising your power and control over them. And people don't like that. They recoil from it. And it's not conducive of aligning them with you. We need to start talking again. We need to listen to and consider other points of view. If you're not entertaining the idea that you could improve yourself, you're either at the pinnacle of arrogance or at the very depths of self-despair, neither of which is a healthy place to be. If someone feels strongly about something, we should at least try to consider why. You don't have to agree with them. It's not what this is about, but you should at least try to understand. Labels are important. They let us simplify our ever more complicated world, and for many form the foundation of an identity. However, an individual is not the group to which you assign them. And if we want to move forward productively, we can't forget that.